The podcast is back. Buy, hold, sell, Dor. It's good to be here. Disruptive week, but it's Magic Round, baby.
Yes, every time it touches that track, Mick, it turns into gold. Yes, I cannot wait. Magic Round is finally here, brother. Round 9. Look, it is a critical and pivotal, I'd say, time of the season where
Brisbane comes alive.
Brisbane does come alive, and it's also fantasy as well. We've got to try and start to prepare for those buy rounds as well coming up soon, or that whole buy round period, basically. So, yes, very critical times, brother.
I was just looking at the all-out team. Like, you can sort of go on the NRL Fantasy Statistics site and sort of predict like who's playing Origin and look at your team. We're in a bit of trouble, but we got time to build towards then.
Yeah, so we only got what I think you're saying around like eight players.
You need minimum 13, obviously.
Well, yeah, minimum 13. Look,
and ideally you want to be
need
playing
13,
who you think will go better.
Ideally, you only really need 13 because that's all it is through that period. But again, like some of those players that are playing are probably going to have a bye in other weeks throughout the whole period. So, yeah, look, it's not too bad, brother. Not too bad. We've got a few more weeks to prepare, but this is probably a good week after only using one trade last week, just getting Preston in.
Brother, I'm sure you talked about it on the previous podcast. Bit of issues with us getting blocked and everything. We're sort of over it now. We're looking ahead. It was a good opportunity to sort of like think about like what would happen if it happens again. But what about Magic Round? What day are you going?
I am there all days of Magic Round, and then I'm also going tomorrow night as well.
3 days.
3 days. Or technically 4. I'm going tomorrow night to the Women's State of Origin as well.
That'll be a good one.
With Wobble and
Sold
Jaw.
out?
So I don't know. I don't think so, but I think there'll be a good crowd in attendance. There was for Game 1, I think, last year as well. So I think it's great. Yeah, I'll be out at Suncorp for the weekend. Like Cord and I were saying yesterday, if you see us, just come and grab a photo. More than happy, and tag us. Tag us on your socials, and we'll reshare it on our stories.
Advice.
And yeah, we'll be putting out a lot of content this week. It's been a bit busy for myself at work, and the other boys as well.
I'd venture to the Caxton.
To pushing through content this week, but look, we'll get to it, especially like on the weekend. It's going to be it's going to be a lot.
We also started that chat. I don't know if you talked about it with Cord, just about late mail updates, stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll basically we'll try and do that before we even put the templates out. So if we get any news or whatever, and we're not absolutely flat out, then we'll basically,
just like for example, a couple of weeks ago when Fafita was starting and then it was late mail, he was benched, or the vice versa. It's something like
it could just be something as simple as, with Jackie Whiten being ruled out this weekend, like that happened today at some point. So something like that. But yeah, definitely the late mail stuff can be very critical. I think there's like over 1,000 of you already that have already joined. So that is like unreal to see. And hopefully we get a few more, and we'll try our best to put all our content in there. We'll probably put in our trades and stuff as well, who we're doing that like for this week and whatnot in there as well, rather than doing like stories and whatnot.
All right, let's hop into it.
Yeah, let's hop straight into it.
We'll go into the buys. First guy on the list, tonned up, raised the bat, Beau Fermor.
Special performance.
I thought about it, prioritized Lucas just because of that buy. Wasn't going to play Origin. Is he still a good buy this week?
I think he is still a really good buy. It's just, I think your view on Fermor's Origin chances, I think, is the real big one here. I think
he's almost a shoe-in now.
You reckon?
Yeah, I just think with the back rowers like form across Queensland.
Yeah,
I think he's been the only real consistent one this year. And he's got that
he did drop off a little bit when he went to the centres there, but his versatility,
it's not his fault.
His versatility's definitely been good. I think Nanai has been really good the last at least 3 weeks.
Can he get picked for Queensland when he's not even in the Titans team?
Well, yeah, look, I don't know about Fafita. I don't think that's going to be happening. Not for Game 1 anyway. I think you're likely chances. Look, I hate to say it, but it could happen. Like I just would not be surprised if Tom Gilbert gets picked on the edge for the Maroons. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think
Billy has his guys, I think.
I would be having currently on form. I'd be having Fermor and Nanai as my
I'd
second
like
row.
Sewer in there. Maybe I'm a bit biased, but I think he's.
I don't mind
been
Sewer.
very solid this year.
I'd have either Sewer or Fafita as like a bit of impact on the bench.
Regardless, back to fantasy. Even if he is playing Origin, just having a center edge duel, such a luxury. His only real
he doesn't
concern-
play round 12.
Yeah,
as is one concern.
that's a concern, and also just generally, if he gets moved to center,
Yeah,
absolutely affects his scores. It's sort of
20
Lucas.
and 30.
That's not really concerned with Lucas.
No, 20 and 30 Fermor is scored when he's moved to the centres. So that is probably, like you said, Mick, the biggest concern. Look, he does miss round 12, but he does play the other bye rounds, or, his schedule in that whole bye round period is pretty good. I think he does play one of the major ones. He misses round 12 and 18, so...
At back row, 69, 61, 50, 49, 109.
Yeah, no.
So at 650K, he's still at a great price. I wouldn't tell anyone not to.
No, I don't think so. Especially if you don't play overall, you just play head to head. I think you'd be stupid not to get him.
I'll segue into this next guy. Dylan Lucas also got that duel. Who would you prioritize though? Because Lucas is playing until round 17 every game?
Well, look, I say this with the utmost respect, but the Newcastle Knights are absolutely dog shit. And that, when I say
much better.
The Titans aren't much better either, but at least I find them a bit more enjoyable to watch. When I say dog shit, fantasy-wise, like they are just
they're just dog shit in general, brother.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to be respectful here as well.
There's no need to be. They'd agree.
I think so as well. But yeah, for me, it's just, they're just not putting up really good numbers. But the good thing is Lucas is probably one of the guys that actually is putting up, even though it's not elite, it's
he got
still
40,
solid
he got 49
numbers.
in a dreadful loss.
And didn't play
seems
80
to be his
minutes
flaw.
either. Only played 76 minutes. So, look.
If that's his flaw, gets a couple of attacking stats. We saw it at the start of the season.
They play every round, like you said, Mick, till round 18. Round 18 is the next bye. So, you've got, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got 9 straight weeks before they have a bye. Yeah. So, if Lucas can stay fit.
I sort of said before that, I was tossing and turning between Fermor and Lucas who to bring in. I brought in Lucas. Obviously, short-term pain, but I'm going to be enjoying him for a long time. So
I agree, brother. I
think he's still a great buy. And
the games that the Knights are playing, even though they're playing really poorly, is they're versing some opposition that are outside the top 8. So South, Titans, Eels, Penrith, Dragons, Manly. Manly's a bit of a tough one. Then they got the Roosters and then the other toughie. So there's about 3 tough games, Manly, Dolphins and Raiders there.
Yep.
And they're more towards the back end. I think if I was to, just with the origin concerns with Fermor and whatnot, and just the draw, obviously Lucas is at an extra 50K. Mm-hmm. I'd be leaning towards more Lucas over Fermor just because I do believe that he's close to origin selection Fermor.
Dor, Erin Clark, we talked about.
Oh, Erin.
We probably talked about for about 4 weeks. We were pretty early on him. As soon as sort of Dylan Walker moved club, he's been eating. Hooker duel. It's lovely.
He has been, truly spectacular, Erin Clark. We were really keen on him. He was in our templates last week as one to buy. 81 points in just over 60 minutes, a break even of 14 this week. And I think the best thing and the most appealing thing about Erin Clark is just that he is a dual hooker and mid.
Yeah, and also since Walker's left, 50, 62, 53, 81 for the last 2 weeks, 60 minutes, and then 64 on the weekend. Fisher Harris is back next week. Do you think that has any impact on his minutes, or do they just...
Potentially, but I was saying yesterday on the podcast, I believe that he's played his way into these minutes. I think just the way he's stood up and performed since Walker's left has just been incredible. I think I speak not only just behalf of fantasy or just a neutral fan. I think a lot of Warriors fans are really stoked with Erin Clark.
That was a great buy.
As a great buy and what he's putting out for the Warriors week to week. to me, he's probably. I think he's by the week. If you didn't get him last week.
If you look towards round 12,
he plays round 12.
A lot of people just have Memezoulis, and they might have Watson as well, which is another issue. You're looking for a hooker. He's probably the best option at the moment. There's your Wade Egan's who have probably peaked in price. He went well on the weekend, but I think if you're looking for a hooker, he could be the guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And if you're looking for a mid, he could be the guy too, because he's just putting up some elite numbers. And I reckon just having that dual eligibility when it comes down to these 13 players, I think is just something like really, really big for your own side, just to have the ability or the flexibility, should I say, to be able to move guys around. So potentially if there's a laid out or something like that, having dual status in your players, potentially if you've only got like 15 healthy players, could be huge.
Yeah, exactly. Another couple of hookers, probably just going to talk about them now, just because just that point about round 12, probably a position you might need to prioritise. Jayden Brailey came off the bench. We won't talk about him long. He's just someone maybe to think about and just suss for a bit. I'm not sure what happened there because he came off the bench and played 70 minutes. Do you have anything to unpack there about what could have happened?
Yeah,
he went really well.
And
we know in the past he's a pretty good scorer if he gets the minutes. Injury concerns, obviously, but I mean he's at 428k.
When did Newcastle play? They played on the Friday. Hey, they versed.
I feel like we're not realizing a key information. About those
so
minutes.
Brailey started.
It was late mail.
Yeah, so Brailey was a late mail starter, and Crosland got put to the bench last week. And then obviously Gamble was all out and Cogger went to starting halfback. So, yeah, Brailey got the start last week, played 70 minutes, and Crosland was moved to the bench. I don't know exactly. Do you know how many minutes? I have to have a check how many minutes Crosland
played 40, 45.
Yeah, I am. The concern is that Newcastle this week welcome back a few big middle forwards. They get Adam Elliott back and Saifidi as well. Yep. So I'm just a bit concerned in that regard to what Brailey's minutes are. Even if he gets the late mail start again, just with these middle forwards coming back.
I wouldn't go there, especially this week. Like, it's definitely one where maybe next week if he goes well again.
If Crosland went down or something, definitely I'd be keen to jump on, especially at 428k. I think it's a real good option, Mick. But yeah, I'm just a bit concerned about minutes. So definitely one to watch in my opinion, brother.
Do another hooker cheaper, Ryley Smith. He's 352k, so he's still pretty cheap. Maybe been a bit underwhelming where we saw
he's just
his
a plotter.
Points.
He's a plotter.
He's a great player. Like the eye test is good, but he got 33 in 80 minutes last game, 31 in 62 the previous game. He missed 6 tackles. That probably doesn't help.
No, definitely doesn't help.
In the run, his scores are going to gradually bump up.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you in that regard as well, Mick. I really do think his scores will tend to improve as well. I think that he's just, this is his first year of first grade. Yeah. He was on, I'm pretty sure, a train and trial or something like that, or not even in the squad, and he's made his way into the NRL squad, and then now, he was coming off the bench, and now he's starting. So it's really been, it's all come at him really quickly. I think he's only going to get better week to week. I don't hate this option. But
yeah, I don't hate it. There's 16 break even. If I think his points do increase from the low 30s, he could make a bit of money.
I just think
he got that. Does he play around 12?
Ryley Smith.
Yeah.
I'll just check that now. Yeah. Ryley Smith. I'd assume Ryley Smith. Yes, he plays round 12. He misses round handy. 15 and 18. So I think 15 and 18 might be the second and third major buy rounds.
I think the Hopgood at hooker.
I think that's over.
That's over.
I think that's over.
What about Lussick and Hands? I know Lussick had that.
Yeah, there could be a chance coming back. Look, honestly, what I was just going to say is I just think if you need a hooker, you just get Erin Clark. I'm not even considering any other option.
Fair enough. We'll move on. Scott Drinkwater, we'll just touch on him slightly. Talked about him last week.
Drink your water.
The Cows are good. I don't know how. Based off the first 3 weeks, but they're going to be great during the Origin period. They lose a few players, but Drinky especially, if Dearden doesn't play Origin.
There's a chance of that happening, yep.
There's a chance. So Drinky's definitely not playing Origin. He's a great option still.
100%, brother. 75 points last week, break even to 27. Don't hate it. Like I said last week on this podcast, go Edwards. But if you didn't go anyone last week, I'm saying Drinky and go Drinky hard. Drink that H2O nice and quickly, because the only issue I think is probably just the fact that he doesn't play round 12 is the only option.
But then they don't have another bye until
that's what I was saying.
Long time.
27. Yeah. Their last bye round is the last round of the season. I'm deeply
regretting getting Deadwoods over him, but we move.
Yeah. Look, they got the solid Warriors this week. They've been, they're fourth on the ladder, I'm pretty sure, third on the ladder. So the Warriors have been playing pretty good football recently. Then they got
the goal kicking is very influential because you could kick 6. Without that,
Yeah, I like the option, Mick. Don't hate it at all. He's probably going to be definitely on our templates this week.
Yep. A couple of cheapy guys. Hugo Savala.
Our cheapy of the week last week.
Probably, I'd say over Erin Clark, in my opinion, probably the best buy this week. Based off on the weekend, how he looked.
I just got him last week, so that's why I'm saying.
Yeah, so I got to get him.
Yeah.
Probably in the team for another 5 weeks. That's when Sammy Walker's back.
Yeah. It's looking another 4 to 5 weeks. So I think this is probably the
really easy one.
Probably the last week. But there could be setbacks and whatnot. So while they are saying 4 to 5 weeks for Walker now, it could be a bit longer than that. They might, take it cautiously depending on how they're going. Like if they're winning, they're probably just going to maybe give him 6 weeks or 7 weeks, maybe give him a bit of extra time to come back if Savala and Smith are playing like they did on the weekend on a week-to-week basis. So, look, minus 16 break even, 57 last week. I think it's a great option, brother.
Robert Derby Dor, probably not out of the 3 cheapies this week, probably not my favourite. Yeah. I just think base-wise, on the weekend he absolutely tore up 2 tries, but I think the other 2...
Yeah.
I just think he's very reliant on those tries, at least from what we've seen so far. But he is cheap, so
there's a bit of upside there, Mick.
He's 340.
There's a bit of upside there with Robert Derby.
I'm just going off round 3, 4, 5, 6. He scored in the 20s each week.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't think he's someone like like a Marzu or a Tamale or something like that. He's really getting he got a lot of runs, a lot of tackle bus, a lot of meters, offloads, etc. I think it's, you're really hoping that he has a pretty solid game and can get over for a meat pie, and you're 100%. Probably getting around 40 points. Look, there's some upside there. I'm definitely not going to deny that. There is definitely, if you want to take a little punt on Derby, considering
the Cows, he can score a hat trick every week.
I know. They're playing some really exciting football, really nice to watch. But yeah, look, I think that a lot of, the name on everyone's lips this week, Mick, is Lyhkan King-Togia this week, who's starting.
Togia. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah, King-Togia is what I'm going with. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, mate.
We'll get it wrong for next week. We'll get it right for next week.
Get it right next week. Look, to me personally, I think it's a really good opportunity to see how this young kid goes. He's definitely playing really well in New South Wales Cup, and I've seen him play a couple of times on Fox on the New South Wales Cup coverage, and he's really passed the eye test, in my opinion. I just think it's you just give it a week. I think if you haven't got Savala, you got to get Savala, and the problem is then Sandon Smith last week, if you held on to him, just went pogo. So it was probably like you could probably sell Sandon Smith to King-Togia this week.
The Dragons made Sandon Smith look like an immortal.
Yeah, he played like Joey Johns. So, yeah, look, I just think you can definitely get him this week. Definitely if you want to upgrade someone, a perfect downgrade option.
He played last year for us, round 27, started, got 31, got a try, 23 tackles, which is promising. And then he was off the interchange. So I think it's just a perfect one where you can wait a week. But if you really want someone to buy someone, he's a nice little downgrade option if you've already got Savala.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, if you want a perfect stepping stone to upgrade to one of these guns, I think downgrading someone like a Jenkins, maybe even a Hubner or something like that, one of those guys, a Robert Toya, even though I'd be holding 2 of those 3 guys. If you wanted to sell them, this would be like the perfect option to sell to, and then you can upgrade to someone else. Just quickly, Mick, before you move on, he last week, King-Togia, got 69 fantasy points.
I've heard enough.
Against Manly. So he really set the in New South Wales Cup. So really,
with respect to Lockie Ilias, I think he gets the role for a bit to see how he goes.
Oh, I'm not going to say what I think on the situation at the Red V in the halves because it gets a bit R-rated. A bit of nepotism there.
Oh, it's a dangerous road, brother.
Yeah, it is. It is,
We'll
especially
move on to the
after
next
Billy.
guy. I'll let you sort of talk about him a bit more than me. Xavier Willison, superstar.
He is looking...
Surely Madge just goes, yeah, this is the guy on the edge.
Well, yeah, I really think that what he did last week really might have done that, Mick.
62 points with a try.
I don't know about 80 minutes every week. I don't know if it's going to be 80
minutes. If he's not at 80,
minutes,
I don't think he's a buy.
Especially with Pierre Cora on the bench. I just think Ricky's going to be that guy that plays 80, Willison. But I think Willison still plays good enough minutes, where...
He's just at an awkward price. I want to see 80.
Yeah, 487. It's just, Look, he's had 2 really good performances this year. He had a 59 in round 5 against the Tigers and a 62 last week against the Dogs.
He'll score points in bunches.
Yeah, I like last week, for example, or the week before, against the Warriors, he played 62 minutes, got 33 points. But yeah, I don't know. It's like the thing is with the Broncos, I need to see a bit more consistency on a week-to-week basis, not from just players and their minutes, but more just so from the team's performance. Because while we're not getting flogged, we're losing games like by, like single digits. Yeah. It's just concerning. Like if we play like we did in the first half last week, like every week, then I can confidently say Willison's definitely a buy. He looks so dangerous running off Reynolds.
Oh, I test it's a tick, brother.
Yeah.
All right, next guy, Jahrome Hughes. He's at 560K. I think his break-even's 56, about there.
Yeah, 56, yep.
I think he's a good buy this week if you're backing him to be as good as he was last year, which I think he should start to improve. He's been pretty quiet. I think that shoulder's sort of cooked him a bit. He's been scoring in the 40s for me. It's going to be frustrating as an owner myself where he's going to explode one week and everyone's just going to get him at a discount. But
he's already lost 265K.
He's lost the most in fantasy.
Yeah. So Hughes has lost, 265K. The last couple of weeks got 40s. He hasn't actually got anything above a 46 thus far this season.
Yeah. 6 people in the top 1,000 have him.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think he drops a little bit more.
I'm fine with that.
Like I said yesterday on the podcast, in the TLT podcast, I'd be really, really strongly considering him after this week. But the problem is he does miss round 12 and 15.
Yeah, which is annoying. Round 16 plays every week from then. I think everyone's going to buy him.
Yeah. But look, if you got good halves coverage throughout that Origin period, I honestly think after this week you've got like the Sharks and the Tigers, or Tigers then Sharks, and then after the
Titans,
I think definitely after the round 12 bye, I reckon round 13 Titans, Cowboys, Rabbits, like that is a really good run.
Another half gone under the radar a bit, mainly because he got dropped, but he's back. He scored very well on the weekend. I think 71. Lachlan Galvin. Tell you what, his plus minus, his influence on the Tigers is apparent. I wonder what he's saying in the locker room. They drop him, they lose. He comes back. They win.
Yeah, well, look, if you want to know what's happening in the locker room, you should go and watch Tyrrell Davis's Maze
Twitch
vlog.
Streams.
No, his vlog. He actually vlogs. Benji was on it, and
he clearly plays fantasy. The way he plays, he's clearly playing fantasy. He's got him captain. He's captain himself.
Oh, mate, he's just consuming.
He went off, 5 minutes, and he was like, Benji, put me back on. What are you doing, mate?
Yeah, no.
Never not captaining May or Haas ever again.
Yeah.
Respectfully to Cleary.
I think it's just a...
You got that upside, but I need to see it more, mate.
Yeah.
His upside is May's just normal score.
Yeah, well, May's getting like 70 or 80s and Haas is getting like 70s. So, yeah.
Apologies, you're getting sidetracks.
No, but that's all right. Yeah. I just think Galvin's a like a good option just quickly, Mick. Again, doesn't play 12 and 15, but a really nice pod option, brother.
He gets the ball a lot. More than I thought he would with Law. He seems to be the dominant half, runs it a hell of a lot, looks for offloads. Yeah, I like it.
Really like it.
This guy, I'm gonna throw in another guy, Cam McInnes and AFB, both of them together. That Sharks pack. AFB went really well on the weekends.
Yeah, McInnes had 58 points, Mick break even of 59, averaging 54.1 for the season in 2.3% of teams. And then Fonua-Blake, like you said, 70 points, 53 break even, 55.8 for the season, but he's in a few more teams, 12.2%.
Yep. Sharks play...
they play round 12. They have round 13 as a bye and round 18 as a bye.
Yeah, like McInnes, what's his worst score so far this year?
What's great, they got Parramatta,
44.
Manly, Storm, Roosters. So it is some tough games, but I think that's going to be probably more beneficial outside of the Eels. I think it's going to be beneficial for guys like Fonua-Blake and McInnes because I think they'll play more minutes because of the contest.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was a blowout, I think those type of guys are probably getting a bit of extra minutes rest.
I threw them in because you got to remember that everyone's got a lot of people have Horsburgh, May, Haas, Yo. They're all Origin guys. That's all your middle's gone.
Well, I don't know. I think Haas and Yo definitely are going to be picked. Like if Laurie Daly, he has come out and said he's picking on form.
If May's not picked.
May and Haas, in my opinion, have got to be the starting front row for New South
Wales.
If
May's not picked, then Trent Robinson must be the ghost selector.
Yeah. Well, Bellamy's helping out with the Blues this year as well. So I'm sure May's going to be picked, and Yo's definitely picked. Horsburgh, I don't know. Like he should be picked. I think Horsburgh is a certainty. He should definitely be picked, but there is a chance he doesn't get picked. Knowing Billy,
just the one thing with those two Sharks guys, they do have like a mid-40s like score on them, just because some weeks they just don't play the minutes, which is frustrating.
Yep.
Dor, last two guys, probably don't even talk about them much. Nanai, if you're not the biggest like player around Origin, you don't care much about your.
If you're playing head-to-head,
overall, you're playing head-to-head. You don't play head-to-head in your buy rounds. Nanai, great option.
Yeah, 72
cheapest
points
chips,
last
72.
week. 8 break even.
I think he's gotten Peyton's confidence back.
Yeah, well that was shown by him getting his first start since early on. So
and he was great.
Yeah, he was great. I honestly think, but I personally think he's definitely playing Origin, and I just want to.
Last year, I think he averaged like 46.
Yeah.
Like bit of value there.
Yep.
Guymador.
Look,
a few worries about that.
To me, look, no disrespect, Charlie. I just think
you said that a bit today, bro.
Yeah. But he's only playing because I think Kelmer's out suspended this week. So I think if Kelmer's back next week, I think Charlie's probably either onto the bench or out. So yeah, I'm not even looking at Charlie Guymer at all.
Onto the holds.
Agreed.
Simples.
Yep. Oh, what about before you go to the holds? Yeah. What about your person you spoke about last week in Selwyn Cobbo as a bit of an option?
A bit of hate about that.
Yeah. So. Cobbo back at the back. We're not sure if when Walsh will be back. I'd say at least a couple of weeks. And the other thing is as well is like the way that Ponga and Walsh are playing, or Ponga's playing. There's no it sounds awful to say.
I was going to pose this question to you.
It's not out of the blue that Walsh plays fullback for the Maroons.
It's not. But I was just about to say, are the Broncos better with Cobbo at fullback than Walsh?
No.
I'm just going based off the weekend. They just beat an undefeated team with Cobbo at the back.
Yeah.
Simplified game plan.
One game doesn't define a season.
But it could be interesting this weekend. See how it goes.
I think, look.
I'm not saying that. I'm just putting it out there.
I know. Like, if you say that, then you can also say that, like, the Broncos put 50 on the Roosters with Reece Walsh at the back to start the season. I think that the Broncos are just inconsistent at the moment. They can, on their day, they beat anyone.
I don't necessarily think it's Walsh's fault. I just think it's like the combination where there's less cooks in the kitchen. Well, and Cobbo has such a simplified role. It's like, we don't want you to set up much, mate. We just want you to carry hard at the back there. Whereas Walsh is almost like that third playmaker. They already got Hunt and Reynolds. Stay with me now.
I think I could cop a bit of hate for this, but I just think that once Mam comes back, I know Walsh is really good mates with Ezra Mam. I reckon that, and then Hunt moving to hooker. By the way, definitely watch this space because if Ben Hunt goes to hooker, he's probably definitely a buy. He'll be Ben Hunt playing 60 hooker minutes.
For the Dragons is one of the great fantasy players ever.
Yeah. So that's one to watch. But look, back to what we were saying, Cobbo. Look, centre and wing fullback, 426K. We're not even going to talk about, by the way, Cody Walker because he unfortunately tore his calf. Basically,
like put the jinx on him.
He'd probably torn it before, but then obviously we got the news.
I feel for Cody. He's gotten to that age where soft tissue injuries are very hard to recover from.
Yeah, I just think Cobbo is not a bad option. It's just, do you view him playing Origin? That's the thing. But to me, he doesn't play Origin with what's going on currently. Like if you're playing, the only way he plays is if.
Who are the wingers? Coates.
In my opinion, I'd say it's Coates and probably Tuilagi. I'd say from the Cowboys. Cobbo's a chance, I think, on the wing as well. Your centers are going to be Val and Hammer. But there is a chance if Hammer plays fullback, if Billy can't make this decision and Hammer goes to fullback, then I'd be picking Cobbo for sure in the centers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be talking a lot about in the coming weeks.
I think he's a good option, Mick. Look, he doesn't play round 12 though, so I guess it's not the greatest for over the bye round period. But let's get into the holes, like you said, brother.
Lockie Hubner, named on the bench, not ideal. I think his minutes are probably going to be similar, to be honest.
I think they'll be slightly less, but I still think they're going to be good. I reckon he's getting around 40, 50 minutes.
There is potential for late mail change, I reckon.
I think so too. Yeah, I'm not sure about Tallis Duncan at second row. I honestly
Tallis was pretty good last week.
Yeah. But I just think there could be, like you said, Mick, a late mail change.
I just think like Hubner's just been pretty rock solid for everyone this year, and it hasn't been ideal where he's missed a couple of weeks here and there. But
we got like 20 points in like 17 minutes in that game, and then
he played 19 minutes, got 23. Week before 42 in 47 minutes.
Yeah, I think there's a couple more weeks left with Hubner.
If he gets 35 for the next, let's say 40 for the next 3 weeks, we'll probably go up another 50, 60K easily.
I wouldn't say you're playing him in your 17 with confidence, but definitely a guy that you look to loop, I think, week to week if you're going to hold on to him for the next couple.
Robbie Toya, the chosen one.
Yep.
I might be selling because I back him to score well every week. Hasn't been doing it lately, but he bombed a couple of tries. He'll arrive.
I'm giving him another week at least.
He's fine to sell. They got the buy next week.
I believe so, yeah.
So I'm personally just trying to hold trades at the moment. Probably going to keep him this week. Might think about it next week.
Yeah. No, yeah, they got the buy next week. So, yeah.
Stafford Toa, been fantastic. Quite surprising. I did see somewhere that last time he versed Val, he scored 103 on him. So there's something to think about.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things where he's been scoring so well.
He's got to that price where it's like it's the perfect stepping stone.
He's peaked in his price, but it's such as you said, such a stepping stone into these keeper guys where you're fully confident they're going to be in your team for the rest of the year, like your Lucases, Herbies.
Like I could myself, with what I've got in the bank this week, go straight from Stafford Toa to a Lucas or a Beau Fermor this week if I wanted to, or even like a Herbie Farnworth or something like that.
He could be like I'm thinking about Lachlan Galvin from last year, right, where he was a cheapie for us. He got to about 600K, and everyone was sort of like, all right, I'm going to trade him to a keeper. And then he just started putting out keeper scores consistently. We were like, probably should have just held on to him, saved that trade. So he could be someone like that.
Yeah.
Maybe wait for him to underperform.
Yeah, exactly. Like the break-even's not that bad, Mick.
No, it's fine.
Like I personally probably leaning towards, even though I could do that stepping stone, I think I'm more leaning towards holding on. Break even at 39. He's been really good this season.
Yep. So Latrell Mitchell, suspended 1 week, massive break even.
76.
Should slot back into fullback. Will have Origin. It's a bit of a shit show, but I think you back him. You back him in, don't you? A lot of people would have traded him, just traded him in.
Yeah, I think if you just traded him in, definitely hold him. But if you obviously had him for a little while, I'd probably move him
straight away when he got named at 5'8". It's been pretty diabolical.
As a wing fullback, I'd be looking to someone like Drinkwater.
Okay. Wong.
He's just getting 40s every week. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, all that team, we bought him at his peak when he just kept eating, kept annoying us. We bought him.
And then he's
went into 40s.
He's had 1 good week, I think, since we got him.
Yeah, so it's been frustrating. But as Rob Toya, next week probably. Give him 1 more week. Roosters
Yeah,
bye.
They play this week, so you can save some trades and get rid of him next week.
Yeah, Ruben Garrick, easy one.
Yeah,
Sells Dor. David Fafita, I think he's lost confidence from Des. The fact that he has his best game of the season, absolutely eats. Then he gets dropped to the bench.
Well, he got.
I know he got that
injured.
injury.
Yeah,
but then you can't justify dropping him. Or do you think he was dropped because he might have a bit of a lingering injury still?
In what?
I think Des just dropped him
last week or this week.
No, this week. I think he was on the bench because of that injury.
Yeah,
and
this week's definitely been dropped. But could I see Fafita coming in as in late mail? Yeah, 100%. I could definitely see Fafita coming in. Yeah,
I'd sell. There's too much uncertainty. It's frustrating.
I think so too, Mick. It is unfortunate, and it's probably going to even hurt more because there is going to be a period where he just comes in and starts playing. Big minutes and big scores.
All right, Dor. Tommy Can't. He's gone from the team. He's an easy one.
He made his money.
Yep. Corey Pakes, I think, especially over the coming weeks.
Yeah, they don't play the buy round.
He's done a serviceable job.
Yeah, 166K.
Been quite underrated as a moneymaker.
119K for the season.
Is it what's Iro's?
KL. Iro, yeah, he's back, yeah.
Tommy Jenkins been very disappointing. I think that's just because Penrith stink and they simply just...
And Casey Hogsbreath McLean, is just...
And also in the thrashing last week where they won convincingly, he didn't go well.
Yeah, he was going better in the centres and then he got moved out to the wing and then, McLean just doesn't pass and Jenkins just struggles to get rock.
I'd sell him. Now, this last guy, many could disagree. I personally think Connor Watson is a sell. I know he went excellent before last round. I think he got 42 on the weekend. It's more just the fact that Roosters miss, this could be wrong, but I think it's 6 of the next 10 games.
I'll confirm that with you. Yeah, so 6, 7,
and that's assuming he plays Origin. I think he's
I think he should.
He's locked in at 14 or maybe even starting 9.
So yeah, look, they've play this week, don't play next week. Then they got 3 in a row. Then they have a week off. Then play 2, a week off, and then all the way to the rest of the season.
Yeah, you got to factor in if he rests, stuff like that.
Oh, well, Origin's not factoring in as well. That from the rest period,
it's about 5 of the next 9. Yeah, it's something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, he's overall he's been scoring great this year.
Yeah, 53.3 average.
But if someone told you, for example, your 700K guy, he's injured for 5 weeks, because that's realistically what it is. Not playing 5 of the next 10, you'd sell him, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think if you want to get rid of Watson, the perfect guy is just to get in Erin Clark.
Yeah. And I think Watson's a perfectly fine hold this week. But next week for that bye.
Yeah.
You might have to go.
Yeah. I think Pates, Jenkins and Kant are the big sell players this
week. Is there
week.
any pod hooker? JMK went good in the weekend. Wadey Egan's been very good.
JMK hasn't played for 2 weeks, so this will be his first game back.
Hooker used to be the position in the glory days.
Wade Egan's, even he's up in ownership. He's like 7.5% owned. I didn't realize he was that many coaches actually had Wade Egan.
He's been eating, brother.
Reece Robson.
Yeah, I think he plays Origin.
Yeah, 70 last week, break even at 24. That's a bit of a pot option, 2.6% of teams if we get back the old Reece Robson.
He was my favourite player.
Yeah. from a couple of one season ago, a couple of seasons ago. He's been really good. I think he's a bit of a pot option, but yeah, I do agree with you, Mick. The way he's been playing, I think he's just in too good of a form not to be the New South Wales hooker.
Yep.
So
yeah, Dor, so that's all the players we have listed here. Look, big week ahead, Magic Round. We'll be around there.
Yeah, as I said, if you see us, just say hello.
We'll stroll over to Caxton Street.
Yeah. I'm there every day, so I'll be putting out some content. And yeah, like I said, see us.
I'll be at the Dragons game. I have no clue what to expect from us.
Yeah. No,
maybe the hardest team to tip in the NRL.
Probably at the moment. Yeah, they'd be up there. Yeah, I honestly, like Mick said at the start of this podcast, I just don't think you can go past captaining Haas or May this week. I think
that's just locked.
Yeah.
I think we had the conversation like surely May doesn't play 80 minutes every week. He was on track to play 75, end up playing 85, but it just doesn't matter. Even if he plays 70, he's still
Ponga
just as good as Haas as well.
Ponga, Cleary, Angus Crichton, they normally do really well at Suncorp. They've got really high averages. Like Nathan Cleary's got the highest average at Suncorp, 83.67%. But I just think you can't really look at those numbers with what's happening this season. Cleary does also love playing the Broncos. He averages 80.67 against the Broncos. So
I've never seen two averages of 78 after this week. Like, that's ridiculous.
You know, a player we just didn't touch on, and I think we really need to give our verdict. And now I've seen the team they're versing, and I'm going in with a strong. I know Ponga's lost us an absolute fuck ton of money, but I think he's a hold against South Sydney this week.
Yeah, we did forget about Ponga.
But Ponga this week, for me, he averages 65.5 against South. I know we're not getting the Ponga that we have in previous seasons.
You've lost all this cash.
It's just got to give.
Yeah.
It's got to give. You've lost this much cash. You might as well just ride him.
I've never had him, but if he scores a couple of good weeks in a row, I'm thinking about buying him.
Yeah, well, he averages 71 at Suncorp, averages 60 odd against South. It's just got to come good. He's got to come good. He's lost.
Maybe he's washed. Don't want to use the washed word, but he's not washed the Knights.
Well, you don't have Ponga, but you've got Jahrome Hughes, so you can understand having a gun player that's lost money. And I just feel like how bad
we got them for a reason, and it's just like.
But how bad would you feel you sell Ponga and then he goes out and gets an 80 this week? I think you're more confident in keeping Ponga until if he gets selected in Origin and be like, okay, yep, now's the time to go. But look, again, if you really want to get rid of him for Drinkwater, I can't say no to it. I'm just personally, I think I'm just going to hold him.
Yeah. It's like what a weird year.
It's like tipping Penrith. Like for example, I can't not tip Penrith because I just felt like until the week before, because I was just like, if I just tip against them, it's just going to be the first week that they end up doing well. So, like,
it's their due.
Yeah.
Paradox.
Look at the coaches last week. Like, a lot of people sold Sandon Smith, and look what happened. Like,
there's nothing more damaging in like gambling and fantasy and stuff like that than their due.
Yeah. Anyway. Ponga's due. So look, there's some other options there that I've touched on, a bit of pot options, but I think, May or Haas every week as captaincy until the Origin period, and then it starts to get real spicy in terms of captain's corner.
Toby Couchman, first try scorer.
Okay. Well, we'll see you all at Magic Round. Enjoy it. It's going to be a blast. We'll see you next week.
Catch up.